right now we just have most of our real weather is in the central part of the country. Now let's go to our excessive rainfall outlook. Alright, so we do have slight risks today for flash flooding, which is 10 to 20% within 25 miles. So North Dakota, Minnesota, you guys are in that slight risk where that yellow is. The dark green here is in Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, also in Wyoming, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico. Another blotch here is in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. And then finally, we have one more in North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee, South Carolina, and Georgia. And that is basically it for the excessive rainfall outlook for today. Now let's go into thunderstorms. And we do have slight risks in areas like Grand Forks, Bismarck, Minot. I'm going to include Glasgow, Billings, both in those slight risks, those 2 out of 5 risks for severe weather. We also have marginal risks in areas like Great Falls, Butte, Rapid City, Cheyenne, I'm going to include Aberdeen, Fargo, and then you have the light green, which is general thunderstorms, which means that there's a chance for thunderstorms, but a very, very, very low chance that any of them would be severe. So that's just your typical summer afternoon thunderstorm type event. Most likely not going to produce 58-mile-an-hour winds or 1-inch hail, or have the risk of forming a tornado. Let's actually check out those. So less than 2% chance of tornadoes, that's always a good sign. Wind and hail are usually your highest threats. So 15% in both areas that were in slight risk, 5% in the marginal risk, and then hail, same thing. So that's basically what's going on today. Now let's go a little bit more in detail. Let's go into the dynamic thermometer model, where let's just click through this. Let's see what's going on here, and you can see most of the storms are going to be firing up through those regions early in the day, then more start to pop up late in the day, and now we're into Sunday. So again, just if there's anything that's going to go on, it's mostly going to be those small thunderstorms, very low risk of any of them being severe, but there really isn't that big storm right now. There's just a lot of little thunderstorms that are kind of, we also have a lot of MCSs, that's another big thing. But there's not really that big storm right now. There isn't. That's more like a spring thing. We're just looking at the standard summer always chance of thunderstorms type of day. But you could also see, especially if I speed this up here, you can see little swirls in the south and southeast. Those are mesoscale convective cyclones, which basically means that they have they're thunderstorms that have a, I want to say like a low pressure type spin, but they're just thunderstorm systems. They're thunderstorm complexes. They kind of start rotating like low pressures, and then we've had a lot of those here in the south and southeast. But we do have some rain pushing through the northern tier of the northeast as well over the next few days, and then that pushes out. So basically, we're just looking at MCSs in the south, thunderstorms in the plains, and some rain in the northeast. The west now is looking fairly dry. Showers are always possible, but if you're west of the Rockies, you have a pretty good chance of some dry air. And we're going to be looking more into that as we go into our relative humidity. Now, let's go into thermodynamics, which is temperatures. High temperatures for today are, so in the northeast, we're going to start there, kind of work our way south and west. So 70s, 80s, and then you have the mid-Atlantic in the south in 80s, 90s, the Great Lakes in 80s, 90s as well. The northern tier between 80s and some areas could see triple digits. The south central part of the country is definitely going to be seeing a lot of triple digits, 90s, 100s, 80s in spots. Of course, you're going to have these blotches of areas that have seen thunderstorms. That cool rain pool will cool down the air, so that's what this is right here. Then in the mountains, you can see 50s, you can see 60s. It all depends on your elevation, but generally you're going to be seeing 60s and 70s, especially in the northwest. And then in the southwest, you have the desert, which is going to be in the triple digits, and then mostly in the 80s and 90s as well. So based on that, it's looking like a very nice day today. And except for the occasional thunderstorm, or if you live in the northern tier, some severe thunderstorms, it's looking like a much better day than the past few days, especially across most of the country. Now, I do want to go into relative humidity, and that we need to go to the GFS for. So let's go right here. So throughout the day today, we are going to be seeing some drier air kind of in the central part of the country. Not the southeast is going to be moist. The very, very northern tier is going to be moist. But right here you have that drier air that's going to kind of keep out all the real thunderstorm action. So throughout today, the northeast is going to be dry, the Great Lakes are going to be dry, the southwest has been dry for a very, very long time, at least the past week, and it's going to be extremely dry. We're getting like near like 5% humidity. That is extremely dry. But our real hot spot today for like moisture is going to be in the southeast, and that makes sense just based on how the MCS just keep rolling through there. But other than that, you have isolated spots of humidity, but not like the big cluster like the southeast. And now, that is the 4th of July outlook. Now let's go into our National Hurricane Center outlook. We do have one disturbance in the Atlantic. This has 10% chance of cyclone formation in 48 hours and 10% in 5 days. Now if we go to the Eastern Pacific, we have one disturbance that has a 10% chance in 48 hours and a 30% chance in 5 days. Now if we go to both of these in the 5-day tropical weather outlook, we do have another disturbance that hasn't formed yet. That has a 50% chance of cyclone formation in 5 days. In the Atlantic, you get to see that one storm. So now, in the Atlantic, our next name is, we have had Arthur, Bertha, Cristobal, and Dolly. The next name is Edward. And in the East Pacific, we have had Amanda and Boris. So the next storm is Christina. So if either of those storms gets named, it would be Edward in the Atlantic and Christina in the Pacific. So that's all I have for today. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow.